Hello and welcome back to our coffee subscription tasting with friends videos. Woo, it's summer! Now it's June already and that went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What happened?
I don't know at all. But today I have with me a new team member. Who are you?
Hello, my name is Helena and I'm working as your marketing and media manager.
Yes.
And I'm stepping back from 9 years as a photographer.
So, freelance?
Freelance, yeah.
But you're still doing a little bit of freelance?
Yeah. I'm doing some book work and stuff like that.
Why did you want to work with coffee?
I've always been interested in coffee, and I've been surrounded by coffee people for years. So there was like this opportunity to put my my knowledge into something else, and then you search out for the
Marketing position?
Marketing position.
Yes.
And it just sounded like the perfect job to me.
Nice. So this is the new Krissa, for those of you who remember Krissa. She was supposed to move to Canada. We'll see if that happens, but she had to leave the company because of that, and then Helena took over.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will be able to do a little bit more videos because of your photography experience. And the plan is to actually give you some brewing tips. There will be a little bit more casual videos, but to give you some brewing tips on these coffees that we're gonna send out to all the subscribers every month.
Yeah.
That's our promise. Let's try to keep the promise as well.
We're aiming for that.
Because we're getting a lot of questions every month. You know, how should I grind this coffee? How should I brew this coffee? And so on. So the goal is to, and I'm saying it now so that I'm forced to do it. The goal is to make some videos for pour over, maybe AeroPress, and then espresso as well. Because we do send out coffee to espresso subscribers as well. They normally get the same coffees that we're talking about today. But we rarely talk about espresso brewing, which is a shame because if you brew our coffees wrong, they will taste awful.
And that's a shame.
So brewing is of course essential. The reason why we haven't spoken so much about it during these videos is normally when we do these videos, it's a couple of weeks before we start roasting the coffees, and they're normally sample roasts, and sample roasts are hard to develop the same way as we do on our big production roaster. So that means if I kind of dial in a coffee based on the sample roast, it might not be exactly the same when we actually produce the coffee. So it's a little difficult. I can give you some hints like this needs to be ground slightly finer than that one and so on. But we'll try to make short videos that we're gonna make available on our website under the subscription page, where you can click on the videos, and hopefully we can put them out in our newsletters as well.
And our goal is to make the subscription package a bigger experience for you guys.
Yes.
So hopefully it works.
You drink coffee?
I do.
Yeah, you used to be inventory in our store. So when we count our inventory, it's like, oh, we have 10 liters of milk, 10 kilos of coffee, and there's Helena. She was always sitting in the window frame.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know how to taste coffee a little bit.
I know how to. Your stuff has drilled me while sitting in the window ceiling.
Nice. And what kind of coffees do you normally drink?
Right now I'm drinking the Finca Tamana. That has been my favorite for a little while.
Nice.
And it's a really, really good one.
Yeah, we're gonna try that today actually. Should we just start tasting?
Yeah.
So it's the time of the year, June, it's a difficult month. Normally we would have fresh crop Kenyan coffees by now. But there's something called the coronavirus, and that has delayed stuff a little bit, but just a little bit from Kenya, because I was there in February to select coffees, but the harvest was a little late, so I was a little bit later than normal, and that's, 1, 2, 3 weeks has a lot to say. So normally we'll get our Kenyan coffees at the end of May. They still haven't arrived. They have just arrived, but they haven't arrived to our warehouse, so that's the thing. So it's the time of the year where we don't have a lot of coffees in store, and that's just because most of the farms we buy from, they harvest from December till June, July, August. Tamana is the latest one, and then the other ones are, December to April normally.
Yeah.
And so that means we're waiting for new coffees to arrive. We have seen delays in some countries because of the virus, so we'll try to make the best out of it. It doesn't mean you're not gonna get tasty coffees this month, but it means you're only gonna get 2 different coffees this month, not 3.
Yes.
But I think you will be glad to hear that the first coffee we're sending out, I'll put it in this cup. And I say this all the time, it's one of my favorite coffees. Every coffee is one of my favorite coffees, but this coffee for me is spectacular. It's one of the best Bourbon coffees that I know, and it's from Nacimiento in Honduras. It's very rare that I taste any Bourbon coffee that is better than this one.
It even smells rich.
It's just fantastic. So we're gonna send this Bourbon out to all our 1 bag subscribers, and the people who subscribe to 3 bags will get a second bag of this coffee. It's just that good, I have to say.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
You wanna taste?
Oh.
Are you familiar with describing taste, or have you done that very often?
I haven't done much of that, but I can see that it has a good mouthfeel. It's filling up my whole mouth, and then you can feel the acidity on the tongue. It's a really, really good balance.
Yeah, definitely very balanced. Now, I can say a little bit about this coffee. This is actually not the reason why I started buying coffee from Nacimiento. The reason why I started buying coffee there was because of his father's Caturra trees that is planted on top of the farm. Caturra is a hybrid that is looked down upon because it normally has a very herbaceous flavor, like weed almost, and it's quite astringent in flavor. On this farm, because it's grown on very high altitude, the coffee is very winey and fruity. So that's the coffee I started buying from Nacimiento or Jobneel and his father in Honduras. And then I visited the farm, and then we cupped the other coffees that were there, and I discovered, he had some other coffees that were fantastic. But the problem was he was mixing all these coffees together. So we started separating the coffees by variety, and then in 2009 when I started buying coffee there, he had Caturra, which is a Brazilian variety, and he had Pacas, which is a mutational Bourbon that we sent out last month, and then he had Bourbon, and then he had the Catimors. And we discovered, the Catimor from the top of the farm were fantastic, but from the lower part it was tasting terrible. Not terrible, but I didn't really like it. And then the Bourbon was spectacular. It was just, a fruit bomb. And the Pacas, quite good. Sometimes very good if it's from the higher altitude. And from the lower altitude, it's a little bit more muted in flavor. And the Caturra was not tasting good at all. So after tasting this a couple of years, we kind of advised Jobneel to remove the Caturra and plant something else. And he hasn't replaced it with Bourbon yet, but he will be, I think, because the Bourbon is by far the best coffee there, I think.
Yeah.
Ah, so juicy. And these trees are really, really old. It's not a lot of trees. You had to stump them 2 years ago, 1 year ago. So that means when you stump the tree, you have to cut it down so that you only have the stump left. And then new kind of branches will grow out.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, you'll have production again. The reason why they do this is because the tree will grow very tall, and it only produces at the top, mainly.
Yeah, so there's a lot of waste space.
So it's kind of renewing the tree, so it produces well. And but these trees, you look at the trunk, they're really big, and they're quite old. So they were planted way before Jobneel bought his farm from the previous owner. So we don't really know the age, but maybe 40, 50 years, something like that.
Wow.
Quite juicy.
Yeah.
Very fruity, very intense. What kind of fruits? If you think about, color in the fruit store, what kind of colors would you think this is? I'll give you some more. What do you think? It's red fruit or?
Yeah, I'm tending towards the red side.
Yeah, like berries and.
Yeah.
We can taste another coffee so you have something to compare. Second coffee we're gonna send out I know we send out a lot of Tamana coffees, but you know, it's a farm we work a lot with.
It's always good.
Yeah. And this is actually, we call it lot 3. That's just a number we put on it. But this is from the 2019 main harvest. And when we bought coffee there, we separated the coffees on varieties, of course. When we always separate varieties on each farm. So that means on Tamana they have Caturra variety, they have Variedad Colombia, they have Castillo, and so on. But the most of the coffees he has is Variedad Colombia, which is a resistant hybrid, but it tastes really good on this farm. And Caturra, which hasn't impressed me that much because it has a lot of leaf rust on the trees. So when the trees are healthy, it can taste good, but most of the time the trees have leaf rust and they're not producing enough sugar in the coffee for it to
make the sweetness.
Yeah. But so what we do is we taste all the different lots, the different pickings separate, and then because it might be 500 kilos or even 100 kilos, we have to kind of mix them together to make bigger lots, because it's just a nightmare logistically if you want to have 40 different lots that are and at the mill they won't accept that, it's too much. So we build lots and we put coffees together, normally based on cup quality and also when they were harvested. So for instance, when they pick from April, May, June, July, sometimes August, normally we don't buy the April coffees because of our experience. Coffees aren't that great.
No, they're underdeveloped at that time?
Not really. I mean, you do have ripe coffee then, but there's a lot of unripe as well, so it's a little bit more difficult to pick. And it's just, I've told Elias we're not going to buy all these coffees anyway, so it's better that he tries to produce that as cheap as possible. Just sell it to get cash to pay the pickers. And then from the peak of the harvest, which is normally June, July, that's when they really take care of the picking, sorting and everything. And then we cup all those coffees, we put them together. So let's say we bought 3 lots last year of the main varieties. Lot 1 would be from the early June. Lot 2 would be from middle of June to beginning of July. Lot 3 would be end of July. So this is lot 3, mix of variety Colombia and Caturra. It was also the highest scoring one.
Super ripe.
Yeah, not necessarily more ripe than the others. And I don't think it's because it's harvested later. It was just, there was a lot of good coffees at that time. And the farm is not very big difference in altitude. It's between 1650 and 1750 meters. So it's just random. Sometimes, the lots in June will taste much better than the July ones and so on.
Yeah.
So, but this scored an average 1 point higher than the other lots. So it's a little bit more fruity and so on. Should we taste it instead of talking about it? It's still not as fruity as the Nacimiento, I have to say. So you can expect always when you get the Finca Tamana coffee, the normal varieties, for me they're like, sweetness is what I'm looking for in that coffee. And it's always really, really sweet, has this kind of brown sugar flavor.
Yeah, this is rounder.
Yeah. It's like syrup.
Yeah.
It's really strange to drink it. And I love drinking this when I'm at the farm, working on my own farm. I live at Tamana, 3 months a year. Every time I go, I bring 2 kilos of that coffee and I bring a couple of bags of the other stuff.
But am I right if I say that it has some green notes as well? Yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely always herbal. Not always, but it's herbal because of the hybrids that he grows.
Yeah.
So, Variedad Colombia, although we pick these cherries when they're super, super ripe, like purple, and that reduces that herbaceous flavor. It's still there. It's hybrids. So, but I kind of enjoy it, and some people don't like it. I really like it. I think it just adds to the kind of complexity of the coffee. You have a little bit of subtle fruit there, but the main flavors for me is like brown sugar. Yeah. If you go back to the first coffee now, you can taste, what kind of fruits you can taste.
Yeah, I get blackberries.
Yes. Almost tastes like red wine now.
Yeah, blackberries and the berry that I don't know the English word of.
Okay, maybe blackcurrant or...
Blackcurrant,
yeah.
thank you, yeah.
Yeah, solbær or blackcurrant. Winey, definitely.
Yeah.
It also has some tannins, like in black tea.
Yeah.
Really, really elegant, delicious coffee. And then you go back to the Tamana, it's just like comfort. Just drinking...
It just fills out the whole mouth.
Yeah. So in Colombia you have something called panela, which is reduced sugar cane juice. They actually just squeeze out the juice from the sugar cane and they boil it in like a big wok until it's a solid block of sugar. So it just evaporates and it caramelizes during that process. Some of them are more caramelized than others, but then Colombians like to drink that. They take a piece of the panela, like sugar, in boiling water and drink it as a kind of tea. And it's, that's what it tastes like. Agua de panela. Nice. Oh. Which one is your favorite?
I think this one is my favorite because of the mouthfeel and the acidity. Yeah. And it's summer and you want something light and it's yeah.
So you might want to try to make an iced coffee actually out of the Bourbon because it has this kind of really nice fruitiness. We have a recipe online where we add sugar. The sugar will bring out the fruit, more for sure. Yeah. So we brew it hot, then cool it down. Of course, there's different ways of doing it, so do whatever you like. But I think this will be a very, very nice iced coffee.
Even now when it's cooled down, the flavors pop even more. So yeah.
Super nice. Blackcurrant for sure. Almost like this blackcurrant bush where you have this kind of, this kind of woody. The coffee is not woody, but you have this kind of, fresh. When you squeeze the leaves, you have this very fresh flavor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice. So that's the coffees we're sending out this month. Coffee number 1 from Finca Nacimiento in Honduras, Bourbon variety, very fruity, winey. Coffee number 2 from Finca Tamana, mix of Caturra and Variedad Colombia, more like sugar cane juice, these kind of flavors. And coffee number 3, also the Bourbon from Nacimiento, because it's just that good. You don't want to have less of it, you want to have more of it. So if you want to subscribe to our coffees, go to our webpage. It's a recurring subscription where you can pause or stop it at any time. We send out coffee every first Wednesday of the month. So that means if you sign up the first Thursday of the month, you have to wait a whole month before you get the coffee. But I think it's worth it. It's slightly discounted, I would say, because a lot of the coffees we send out are more expensive than what you actually pay. We just like to treat our subscribers with delicious stuff. Yeah. We make these videos every month where you can watch and learn a little bit about the coffees, and we'll try to make those brewing tips videos. Yeah, we're gonna produce a lot. Yeah, I hope so. This year. Hope you enjoy the coffees, and thanks for watching. Thanks, Helena, for joining us. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.